Thank you, Your Honour, and Mr. Dufresne, welcome to the Senate. It's likely that you're going to be overseeing the biggest revamp in privacy law in this country in several decades, as well as an increase in the Privacy Commissioner's powers. All the while, the data economy has been growing exponentially. How Canada regulates the use of data will catalyze innovation, productivity growth, and prosperity, or not. Clearly, the new Privacy Commissioner will have to play a balancing act, strengthening and protecting data rights, which you're eminently qualified to help with for sure, but all the while empowering innovative and globally competitive commercial activity. So in that light, could you describe your views on the extent to which it is important for privacy laws to enable innovation in our economy? And how would you ensure that experience with rapidly evolving technologies, competition issues, various business models, global interoperability will be represented on your team?
Thank you.
I'm hoping to ask a second round, but we'll see.
Thank you, Senator, for the question. And this is core to my vision of my role as Privacy Commissioner, if I'm confirmed. So I indicated that there were three elements. One was privacy as a fundamental right, and the second was privacy in support of the public interest and Canada's innovation and competitiveness. So that's absolutely part of the vision. We need to have a system that doesn't sacrifice Canada's innovation, Canada's competitiveness, and the ability for Canadian industry to succeed. And I believe that can be done. That can be done by having a regime that is principle-based, that respects privacy, but also that is mindful of the realities and challenges of Canadian industry. I believe that privacy will generate trust, will allow Canadians to feel that they can participate more in the digital economy, which in turn will be good for industry. I think it will be beneficial to have interoperable norms and rules that ensures that there is a level playing field and that Canadian companies understand the rules and can be helped in that by my office, if it becomes my office, in terms of outreach and education and information. In terms of the composition of the team, I've always, in all of my roles, valued diversity of views, diversity of perspectives. And so my perspective is one, and it is from my background, and I've always wanted to surround myself with individuals with different backgrounds, different expertise, so that we can have the best advice around the table. So in my team at the House, I recruited individuals from the Senate who are fantastic. I've recruited individuals from the Department of Justice. I've recruited individuals from the private sector. I've recruited individuals from the Library of Parliament. And so just to have these views, and that's for the internal team, which is very important. But I also believe outside links with stakeholders, links with industries, whether it's by having advisory councils of a formal structure like that, or in an informal way, ensuring that the channels of communications are open, because there is value to the Commissioner in the office sharing information, but we need to do that understanding the challenges of industry. And this is something that I feel I am able to do because I'm a human rights lawyer, but I'm also an employer and a leader of an organization. So I've advised on complying with the laws, but I've had to comply with them myself. And so I understand the challenges of industry where you have these competing pressures and priorities, and you want this to be done while meeting your obligations to whether it be your shareholders or parliamentarians or Canadians. And so these are things that are very important to me, and I will put in place the networks and the structures needed to.
Thank you. Good to hear. And just in terms of consultation, the Government of Canada has had a history of communicating, but not robustly consulting. So hopefully you'll be ambitiously establishing a new standard in that regard because of the transition that's going on. The last is I just want to have some ideas specifically about how you'll be managing that compliance burden associated with implementing the new privacy legislation to ensure it doesn't stifle innovation, productivity, growth, and competitiveness.
Well, there are a number of things there. Obviously, the content of the legislation is going to be decided not by myself, but by Parliament. The OPC will play a role in providing views and advice, and of course, there's a role for industry as well to provide views to Parliament, but also to the OPC in terms of that process. I will work with the legislation that Parliament decides to adopt and with the team to ensure that it is as user-friendly as it can be for Canadians and for industry. I believe when we were talking about the consent clauses being difficult to understand and how it can be a burden on individuals, I think that that is true as well in terms of the burden on organizations to comply with legal frameworks, and there are many obligations. In my role at the House, I've had to oversee compliance with C-65 on health and safety, compliance with pay equity, proactive pay equity regimes, compliance with proactive accessibility, proactive disclosure of financial information. These are all fundamentally important things to do, but they take work and they put burdens on organizations and leaders who are already overburdened. So whatever the regulators can do to make it easier, put the incentives in the right direction is positive.